Hi guys, I wanted to come on and do my 6-week postpartum update. Um, I hope the AC in the background isn't bothering you. I'm really hot and I just can't turn it off right now. Um, yeah, so I'll be 7 weeks postpartum in like 4 days. I don't know, I just feel like so out of sync with YouTube at the moment. Like when I come on to talk, it feels like, okay, now's time, like I should make a video. But then once the video starts, it's just not smooth sailing anymore. It's just constant hesitation as to what I should say. I think that's just kind of what comes with tiredness. And then there's like, what should you say? What should you say in your postpartum video versus what the reality is? And I want to come on here and be real. I don't want to come on here and film what I should tell you. So I'm going to be really raw and open about postpartum. I've always had like emotional problems. I've had anger issues at times in my life. I've had like hyperactivity, anxiety, depression. I've gone through all of that. And I've really struggled with my mood my whole life, really. On any medication I took to balance that out, just kind of made me numb. There was no like happiness or aloneness. It was just nothing. So I've decided to try and live my life like medication free. And postpartum has definitely taken a toll on my mental health. I don't know, it feels like very difficult to talk about because a lot of people, like, if you admit you're struggling with postpartum, they immediately think, oh, well, is your baby at risk? Don't do anything bad because of your baby. Like, you should talk to your doctor about it. Like, you should get onto medication for your kids. It's, like, really hard to talk about struggling when you have kids because everyone has all of this, like, all of these assumptions about what you should be doing as a parent. If I just look this way, it's because my baby's laying down. I actually have COVID again right now, the second time, and I feel dreadful. It's very different to the COVID I had before. It's much more upper respiratory versus last time it was much more in my chest. So if I sound nasally, that's why, and my baby's probably got COVID. I haven't tested her, but she's been congested for a few weeks, and now it's got worse, so I think she had congestion, which then became COVID. Sorry, I want to wipe my nose, but it feels weird to do that. Anyway, so in terms of my mood, I have to be really honest. I felt very angry in my postpartum. And I don't know, maybe it's just the tiredness from breastfeeding and getting up all night, but I felt a level of anger that I haven't really felt since I was probably like 14, 15. When I was 14 and 15, I had a lot of depression and a lot of irritability and anger. Like, I just felt like I could go off at like everything. And then, as I was like 17, 18, 19, I really calmed that down and managed to, I can't say I never like lost my shit, I did, but I managed to like really calm down, like cool down a little bit. I definitely had mood swings in my pregnancy, don't get me wrong, but they weren't quite as intense. And I remember my whole pregnancy, I was telling my boyfriend, I'm like, when I give birth, I'm just gonna be like the perfect girlfriend. My moods are gonna go back to being great. Like, I'm not gonna be bitchy anymore because I won't be pregnant. I'll feel great. Like, I'm like, just wait, I'll be the sweetest. And let me tell you, wow, did like the postpartum hormones throw me a curveball. It was not that way. And it's definitely been a lot more intense than when I had my first baby. And I'm sure that's, also because I have a 3-year-old and not just a newborn. But I've been having anger issues. And I don't mean like I'm like throwing objects around the place and like screaming in people's faces. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I just feel very angry and heated a lot of the time. Everything that would normally just mildly like irritate me and I would normally just be like, okay, this is how we're gonna deal with this. I'm just like enraged. Um, and it's been very difficult with my 3-year-old testing my patience. It's been incredibly difficult to keep my cool. And I'm not like an abusive mother. Like, don't like watch this and be like, oh my god, what is she doing to her 3-year-old? Like, no, I'm not like talking like that. Like, I'm not like up screaming in her face. I can't lie, like I've definitely like shouted like a couple times, which I'm really not proud of. Like, I never wanted to be like the shouty mom that like lost her shit all the time over everything. But my god, when you have a newborn and a 3-year-old and you're tired and sleep deprived and you have postpartum hormones, wow, it's hard to keep your cool. It's been very, very difficult. I felt like at the moment my 3-year-old's been having a lot of issues, and of course, you know, she's adjusting to a new sibling. She's struggling to get enough attention because she's not in daycare, and I'm very tied up with breastfeeding. And I felt very depressed over this. I felt very depressed because I haven't been able to have the bond that I had with my 3-year-old before having a baby. And I remember everyone said, you know, when you have a baby, you have to put more effort into your older kid. Like, they need a lot more attention. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just give her more attention when the baby's asleep. But little did I know my baby would have colic, and then it would be a case of walking and holding them for hours, and then every time I put them down, they cry. And then I can't do anything with my 3-year-old. It's been very difficult, and I felt like I've neglected my 3-year-old. And when I say neglect, like, I'm giving her attention every day. Like, I'm spending time one-on-one, I'm feeding her, I'm taking care of her. Like, I'm not, like, neglecting her. What I mean is just, like, I'm not giving her the attention that she had before. And on top of having a new sibling, she's probably feeling, like, very left out. And, like, mommy's attention's gone elsewhere. And, so I've been very, very depressed because I felt like I'm failing my 3-year-old. I've been very depressed just in general, honestly. I'm not like suicidal or anything, like I don't want to like kill myself, but I've just felt like everything is hopeless at times, and I've just had a lot of like heaviness, just like a constant feeling of like drowning, and like I'm constantly at zero with my energy, and no matter how much sleep I get, how much coffee I get, whatever I do to try and take care of myself, I'm drained. I'm just utterly drained. And it's like when I'm meant to be resting, that's when I'm cleaning. So I'm drained, I'm exhausted. I've been struggling with a lot of depression. I don't know if it's postpartum depression or just depression or like situational depression. I've definitely been having extreme anxiety. This is something that I sort of had after my first child. After my first child, I had like a little bit of postpartum psychosis. I had like mild hallucinations and like anxiety attacks. It wasn't that for that long, but I've noticed with this having this baby, I've been having anxiety attacks almost daily, and very weird feelings like I'm leaving my body. I think that when I struggle to cope with things in my life, I have this thing where I sort of disassociate. And when I'm talking about disassociating, I don't mean like kind of like disconnecting from stuff. I mean like I genuinely feel like I've left my body and like I'm watching my body do stuff. Like a lot of the time I'm walking around and I'm like, I feel like I'm just looking at myself and I'm not in me. And I feel like my consciousness is here and my body is here. And it's very awkward to talk about this. Like, I'm being very vulnerable discussing this because I'm basically opening up and saying that I'm having issues with my mental health, and it's really difficult to talk about. But I don't want to give some fake like 6-week postpartum update where I'm like, I'm doing great, like this is how it is, because that's not the truth. I'm sure a lot of these experiences I'm having are from sleep deprivation, but I've been having very strange anxiety attacks where I'll randomly have a very fast heartbeat. I won't be thinking about anything that makes me anxious. I'll be reading and then suddenly I'll have Alice in Wonderland syndrome, and it will be like everything is getting further and further away and smaller, or I'll just suddenly feel like I've gone out of my body and like I'm watching it, and I'll start panicking. And another thing is, after giving birth, you really realize like a lot about life and how short it is, and you think about your life and your kid's life, and then you start to panic a little bit. You panic about the future, and I've been having episodes where I'm really scared of dying. Death has always been a big thing for me. I lost like 5 people in 1 year when I was about 8 years old, and death just hit me really hard then when I kind of realized what it was. And since then, every couple years I would have episodes for like a couple weeks where I just have like one long panic attack where I would just be like sweating and like crying for weeks, and I'd be thinking like, what would go through my head would be like, what about if I die and then there's nothing, and then my entire life is pointless and I never feel, I never think again, and just the idea of nothingness really, really deeply disturbs me. And that was why I kind of went in and out of Christianity. I think a lot of the time I never truly believed in the religion that I was signing myself up for, but I was just in desperation for there to be more, because the fear of what's to come or what's not to come haunted me on such a deep level that it felt like my only way to cope with the level of distress and anxiety I was going through whilst losing the people that I loved was to hold on to some sort of faith of what there could be. And I hope I'm not offending anyone that's religious. Like, by all means, if you believe in things, that's great. I mean, I do believe there's something, I just really don't know what it is. So yeah, I've been having like a lot of sort of anxiety attacks where I wake up in the night and I'm like, oh my god, like when I die there's gonna be nothing, I'm never gonna bond with my children again, I've only got like so many years to have an amazing time with my kids, and then I'm never gonna feel like, again, I'll never have my motherhood or my experiences with my child again, like it's just all gone, and then I'm procreating only to make another human that's gonna have the same fate. And maybe these are like really deep thoughts that most people just don't think about. They're like, well, we don't know, so let's not think about it. But like, it's stuff I think about, and it's stuff that really haunts me. And I think when I gave birth, like, when you give birth, you're giving life. Like, you're bringing life into the world, and when you bring life into the world, you also think about death, because the two kind of coincide. So that's some sort of stuff I've been dealing with. In terms of the anger, I just feel constantly irritable. Every little thing ticks me off. I feel very, very sensitive, like everything makes me very upset. It's almost like a period times 10, to be honest. It's just like a constant level of irritability. And even when like nothing is happening that I should be annoyed about, I just wake up and I feel infuriated some days. Just like I wake up and I'm like, everything sucks, I'm so angry, and I don't know why, but I just feel frustrated, like I'm trying to like claw my way out of the walls. Like I just feel like so caged in and just angry, like there's no way out. But you know, all negative stuff being said, I do really love motherhood. I love my children. I love my baby. It's been a beautiful bonding experience, and I've managed to exclusively breastfeed for 6 weeks, which has been such a beautiful skin-on-skin intimate experience, and I'm really happy to have had that. I plan to continue breastfeeding for the foreseeable future. And yeah, it's just been worth every little bit of tiredness, every mood swing. It's all worth it because I'm so in love with my little baby girl. I'm in love with my 3-year-old still. I've been having a hard time kind of coping with the three-nagers, as they say, but I'm hoping that, you know, we get to a better place soon. And so aside from the mental side of things, I'm going to go on to the physical side of things. So I did stop bleeding at 5.5 weeks postpartum, and I made the decision to have sex like 4 days early. I said I would talk about it, so I am going to talk about it. The first time I had sex at 5.5 weeks postpartum, it did hurt a little bit, I can't lie, like it was quite sore, but it went fine. There was no complications, no bleeding, but it also felt better. It was weird. It felt better than ever before, but also like the pain came with it, with the not having had sex in a long time. And then I think I've had sex like twice since then. I'm only like 6.5 weeks now, and it's got less uncomfortable, but the worst part is like the tenderness of my actual cesarean scar. Like, you know, we've been trying to do missionary, and it's kind of hard because I'm like holding him up. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that too much. So as from yesterday, I started bleeding again, and I don't know if I've got my period because I'm exclusively breastfeeding, so I'm not meant to, or what. I keep sort of like spotting on and off pink blood, but it could also be because I started doing a lot of housework that it's kind of like sparked it off again. So I'm not sure, but it's not been heavy, and I've had no more postpartum heavy bleeds as of yet. And my incision is completely closed and healed, which I'm really happy about. Postpartum body, don't like it. I don't fucking like it. I'm trying to be grateful for my body because I grew life, but at the same time I'm like, ugh, like it's like squishy and flabby. And I'm supposed to have my boyfriend who's a personal trainer train me, but I'm almost too shy to even have him like guide me with my body because I'm just like, is he gonna judge me and start telling me like this area needs to be better? Like, he's a really, really sweet guy. Like, I'm not trying to like say like he's a judgmental person. I'm just like, these are my paranoid thoughts like going through my head, not his. I'm sure he's just like, I want to make her feel better about her body. Like, he's a sweet guy. Like, I don't think he's thinking anything bad. So yeah, I've been fucking struggling as you can see. I'm acting a little hyper just because I did just have a coffee, and I also feel just a little anxious coming on here, to be honest, and being so vulnerable because now I'm like, oh my god, should I post this? I've over-talked, I've overshared. But I feel like this is the video that other postpartum women want to see. Like, they don't want to fucking see the girl out there that's like got her makeup and hair done. She's like, I feel so good in my body. I grew life. I'm wonderful. Everything's blissful. Motherhood's the best. Like, that's not going to build them up. That's not going to be helping people that are struggling. It's not going to help people. Like, it's great. If you're doing amazing, that's great. But, like, the reality is we want to hear about the struggle. We want to feel like we're not alone. We want to see other people go through the same things and know that there's better times to come. So I'm here to tell you that postpartum struggle is real. Postpartum hormones are very, very real. And it's okay. It's okay to feel like shit. And I think better times are coming for all of us. And we just need to take some deep breaths, love ourselves, take care of our kids, and just be patient with ourselves and our bodies. Anyway, I don't know if I even like did my hair properly for this video, and I feel like I look about 40 years old because I'm tired. But thank you for watching. I don't know if I'm going to do YouTube all that much, honestly. It's just not my priority right now. I don't feel too good about filming a lot of days. But you know, if I have something to say, something I want to put out there, something I want to watch in the future, I'll put it out there. But my videos are probably going to be more like every month or two, not like consistent. My baby has also been suffering from a lot of congestion. So it like the postpartum has not been just a hard time for me, but it's been hard taking care of my baby girl. But she's gained like 5 pounds since she's been born. This is her right here. She's sleeping away because I think she also has COVID as well as me. But she's doing good. I'm keeping an eye on her. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you're all having a good day.